joined now with captains of the with seniors on the wrestling team, Howard Tobochnik and Jeff Ajayi. Guys, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
And wrestling isn't a sport that I was exposed to much when I was little, and I was wondering how you guys first started playing.
I first started wrestling in the 6th grade, and it was just actually was really big into soccer at first because my older brother was like a soccer superstar in high school, and he was an All-American multiple times, and I'm just like a lot more less coordinated and a lot more rougher than he was. So if anyone's familiar with that show King of the Hill, not King of the Hill, Home Improvement, yes. There's a neighbor that always peeps over the fence and is always suggesting things, and that neighbor was Mr. Kane, who was like my first wrestling coach, and I just came in for a practice that he suggested to come in for, and it was just a fun experience. I had a lot of fun, and then a week later he said, "Oh, well, we're all going to wrestle in this tournament, so I hope you can wrestle, Jeff." So I wrestled in and magically just pinned everyone I wrestled, and that was kind of the defining moment where I decided I'm going to be a wrestler, and 10 years later, here we are. Yeah. So it was just a wonderful experience, and it's really defined the person I am today.
Yeah, like Jeff, I started in middle school, and my parents were like, I think you'd be good at wrestling, and it turned out I was good at wrestling, so I wrestled in middle school and high school. Unfortunately, I wasn't on a very good team. I didn't have the best coaching, so when I went to college, I really wanted to step up and have experienced coaches, awesome teammates. So I got in contact with Coach Black, and everything worked out.
Yeah, well, and you're both from the Midwest, so maybe that has something to do with it, that it's a bigger sport out there than it is here on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wrestling's definitely big in the Midwest. You always hear about like Iowa-style wrestling. We actually have a call that Coach Black calls out, Iowa, Iowa, and it means basically just pound the other guy in the mat. So Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, these are all real big competitive wrestling states. Mm-hmm. I think our team and Coach Black has really benefited from recruiting in those areas.
Yeah, it's good. Just with the Midwest region. I mean, we're always. I remember in high school, we're always traveling to these different states and trying to wrestle the best competition. So almost just like we're constantly battling against each other and struggling with each other. It just kind of makes the Midwest just a hotbed for wrestling, and it's helped us enormously. Helped us. Got us like the training and almost like a boot camp to get ready for wrestling.
So when you guys go home, do you do a lot of training before the season starts up at school and before your practices at school?
Yeah, I mean, when we're back home in the summer, we have a program that we follow, mm-hmm. and it's again, we're from the Midwest, so it's easily accessible to find like a place that we can wrestle, like an old high school or buddies of ours, or like a gym. We can just get up, meet a few people, and roll around and then work on technique. And then when we arrive back to campus in the fall, we have a program that we follow. So it's a preseason workout that mm-hmm. it's a variety of techniques, things that we work on, ranging from wrestling itself, and then our running, cross-training, sometimes swimming, just a large variety of exercises and things that we do to get ourselves ready for the season that starts. Fortunately, we follow NESCAC rules, even though we don't really wrestle many teams in the NESCAC. So we have to start a month behind. So the reason we do these extra training programs is to prepare ourselves for a tough season ahead and being a month behind from everyone else. So, once we do that and start wrestling, then everything's going according to plan, and we always peak at the right moment.
Fall, winter, and spring, we have practice Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6:30. And in addition to that, we have got a lot of guys who do morning workouts. So we've got guys working out 10 times a week, every week.
Well, it certainly seems
stay in shape.
Yeah, it certainly seems to pay off. Both of you have done really well this season. Jeff, you were named the NEWA Player of the Week, and Howard, you made the all-tournament team at one of your recent dual competitions. How have these accomplishments, how do you feel about them in your senior year? Are you pleased?
I mean, I think we've been setting, records at Wesleyan in the last few years since we've been here. Mm-hmm. Me and Jeff's sophomore year, we had the best dual meet season record in the history of Wesleyan, and we won the NEWA duels. Last year, Jefferson was the first All-American that Coach Black has ever had, and we won the New England Championships, the first time since 1984 when John Biscombe was coach. And then this year, we were invited to the national duels We went and seeded 15th. We upset 2 teams and took 6th in the country. Best Wesleyan's ever done at that tournament, and best few New England teams have ever even placed at this tournament.
Yeah, and you mentioned the dual competition. So, wrestling is such a single, it's just you versus your opponent. But then when you have the dual competition, you're getting points for your team. How does that change how you view your team dynamic or how you view how you're doing personally?
I think that it's all context, based on context, and it's a great feeling to pin someone or tech someone or major someone, because it just shows that you completely dominated that person and you did as much as for your team as points wise, and that could then like a pin is worth 16 points, and then tech fall is worth 5. A major decision is worth 4, and a normal decision is worth 3. So just being able to contribute to your team in that way, if we're getting a big tech or a big pin, it's a really special feeling, and it's like a huge accomplishment. But then again, sometimes it can be better just to beat like a very good wrestler just in a normal decision by a few points, and then it just shows that you gave it everything you had, he gave it everything you had, and you left everything on the mat, and like ultimately you have a lot of respect for that person too. So it all depends on the individual you're facing, but as long as you can get the W, it's the most important part.
And I really like the fact that wrestling is an individual sport. You go out there, there's no excuses. You win, you lose. That's based on how hard you worked, how much you put into it. But one thing a lot of times that isn't noticed is all the other guys on the team who aren't stepping out on the mat to compete. Me and Jeff are here doing the interviews. We're the ones who are quoted in the papers because we're starting. But training with us every day, working their ass off every day, is a bunch of guys who are at our weight class who aren't starting. And we wouldn't be where we are today if it weren't for all these other guys who put in countless hours and train and work hard to help us make us better and themselves better.
So as you finish off your last season, what have you found that you're appreciating most, or what do you think you're going to miss most once you're no longer playing with the team?
I think right now I'm just really appreciating how everyone comes together, and we're just one family. We care about each other very much, and we do anything for each other. And it's just, I'm definitely gonna miss the most, just like having that dynamic, like guys I can always look to seek advice, or hey, come study with me or something. Let's get food together. Like there's always that constant support network wherever I go on campus, and I'm gonna really miss that a lot after the season and after we graduate. But like I always know, I just have lifelong friends that I always support, and they always support me. So it's good to know that like you're just gonna have family all over the place wherever you go. And it's just like, even with this last season of my career, it's just great to know that everything, all these years of wrestling hard and just the years of just grinding everything out and working as hard as I can, it's like, we're looking like it's gonna culminate in a just great thing. Like we're gonna hopefully just be all Americans, our senior class, like myself and Howard and Kyle Rusa, Nick Scotto. Like we can definitely do this, and it's just, we just have to believe and always be hungry, always not, we can't be content with anything. We always want to get more, so just have that mentality, and we're gonna really achieve our dreams. So it's gonna be great.
Great. Well, I hope you guys the best of luck this weekend at Williams.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for being here.